I always thought betrayal was something that happened to other people. You hear about it in movies, read about it in books, but you never think it'll happen to you, until it does. My name is Jake Miller, and up until 6 months ago, I had what most people would call a perfect life. A stable job, a beautiful home, and a wife I adored. And my best friend, Mark? He was like a brother to me. We'd known each other since college, been through everything together. I trusted him with my life. Turns out, that was my first mistake. It started with the little things I brushed off as nothing. Emily, my wife, was always on her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't share. Mark, who used to come over for beers and football, suddenly had excuses when I invited him. And when they were in the same room, there was this tension, subtle, but there. I told myself I was being paranoid. Emily and Mark had known each other almost as long as I had known them. They were friends, nothing more. But paranoia has a way of creeping into your mind, planting seeds of doubt. One night, after Emily had gone to bed early, I saw her phone light up with a message from Mark. Curiosity, or maybe instinct, got the best of me. I picked it up. My stomach dropped. I can't wait to see you again. I miss you already. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My hands shook as I scrolled up. And what I saw shattered everything I thought I knew. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the messages. There was no room for doubt. Emily and Mark had been seeing each other behind my back for months. The texts were filled with inside jokes, stolen moments, and promises of more. My chest tightened as I read things I never should have had to see. Last night was amazing, she had written just a few days ago. I wish I could wake up next to you instead. My mind raced. When? How? Every late night she claimed to be working. Every weekend Mark had been too busy to hang out. Had it all been a lie? I felt sick. My wife. My best friend. The two people I trusted most in the world had betrayed me in the worst possible way. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at the screen. I could hear Emily's soft breathing from the bedroom, peaceful, unaware that her secret was out. I wanted to wake her up, to confront her, to scream, but I didn't. Not yet. If she could lie to my face so easily, what else was she hiding? I needed more than just text messages. I needed proof that couldn't be denied. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I took pictures of their conversation. Every message, every incriminating word. Then, I put her phone back exactly as I found it, and walked outside into the cold night air, trying to calm the storm inside me. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was furious. And I was going to make them pay. The cold air did little to clear my head. My thoughts were racing, emotions clashing, rage, heartbreak, humiliation. I paced the driveway, fists clenched, mind replaying every moment I had been played for a fool. Emily had kissed me, told me she loved me, all while sneaking around with Mark. And Mark, my so-called best friend, had smiled to my face while sleeping with my wife. I wasn't about to storm inside and start screaming. That's what they'd expect. No, I needed to be smart. If they were willing to betray me like this, I had to assume they'd be just as deceitful when it came to the fallout. Divorce was inevitable, but I wasn't going to let her take everything I had worked for. I spent the next few days acting normal, almost too normal. If Emily noticed anything off, she didn't show it. She kissed me before leaving for work, texted me about dinner plans, played the role of a loving wife like nothing was wrong. It made me sick. Meanwhile, I gathered more evidence. I checked phone records, emails, even our shared bank account. Small, unexplained withdrawals. Hotel charges. The pieces were coming together, and they painted a picture I didn't want to see. Then I made a decision. I was going to catch them in the act. A confrontation wasn't enough. I needed undeniable proof, something no lawyer could argue against. And when I got it, I would make sure either of them walked away unscathed. I started paying closer attention to Emily's habits. She wasn't as careful as she thought. Every few days she'd claim she was working late, or going out with friends. But I knew better now. I pretended to believe her, acted like the trusting husband she thought she had fooled. In reality, I was watching, waiting for the right moment. It didn't take long. That Friday, she told me she had a girls' night planned. She even put on a little show, picking out an outfit, asking me if she looked nice. I smiled, told her she looked beautiful, all while feeling disgusted inside. She kissed me goodbye, and I watched her drive off, straight toward the part of town where Mark lived. I had already set things in motion. Earlier that day, I placed a GPS tracker under her car, something small, discreet. As soon as she left, I checked the app on my phone. Sure enough, she was headed exactly where I expected. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I followed at a safe distance, keeping out of sight. She pulled up to an apartment complex I knew well, Mark's place. She didn't hesitate, didn't even look around to see if anyone was watching. That was all I needed. I parked a block away and walked, heart pounding, but my mind was clear. Tonight, I was going to see it with my own eyes. And when I did, there would be no turning back. I stayed in the shadows, my pulse hammering as I approached Mark's apartment building. It was almost too easy. Emily hadn't even bothered to be discreet, no glancing over her shoulder, no hesitation. She walked right up to his door like she belonged there. I waited until the door shut behind her, then moved closer. My fist clenched at the thought of what was happening inside. I had proof from the texts, the tracker, the bank statements, but this? This was going to be the final nail in the coffin. Pulling my phone out, I started recording as I crept to one of the side windows. The blinds weren't fully closed, and through the small gap, I saw them. My stomach twisted at the sight of Emily in Mark's arms, her lips pressed against his. They laughed together, completely at ease, as if their betrayal meant nothing. I forced myself to keep filming. I wanted to break the window, storm inside, make them feel the same pain they had inflicted on me. But I didn't. I wasn't going to let my emotions ruin the plan. I had to think about the long game: divorce, assets, revenge. This video would be the key to making sure Emily didn't walk away with anything but regret. I stepped back, breathing hard. I had what I needed. Now, it was time to make my move. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. The video sat in my phone like a ticking time bomb. Every second of it burned into my mind. Emily wrapped around Mark, the way she smiled at him, kissed him. It was more than betrayal. It was a mockery of everything we had built together. But I refused to let anger control me. I had to be smart. That night, I went over my finances, checking every detail. The house was in both our names, but I had been the one paying the mortgage. Our savings, mostly my earnings. I took copies of every important document, ensuring I had a record of what belonged to me. Emily might think she was playing a game, but I wasn't going to let her win. The next step was finding a lawyer. I needed someone ruthless, someone who would make sure I didn't get screwed over in the divorce. The next morning, I scheduled a consultation. I didn't tell Emily. As far as she knew, I was still clueless, the trusting husband she had been deceiving for months. When she came home that evening, she kissed me on the cheek like nothing had happened. "How was your night?" she asked, smiling sweetly. I swallowed my rage and forced a smile. "Same as always," I said. Let her think she was safe. Let her think I didn't know. Because when the time was right, I was going to destroy her world the way she had destroyed mine. The lawyer I met with was exactly what I needed: sharp, experienced, and completely no-nonsense. After I laid everything out for him, he leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "You've got her," he said. "And with the proof you have, she won't be able to play the victim or take you for a ride." That was exactly what I wanted to hear. We went over the details: how to protect my assets, how to ensure Emily didn't walk away with anything more than she deserved. He advised me not to confront her yet. "Let her think everything is fine while we prepare," he said. "When you drop the papers, she won't have time to react." I walked out of that office feeling a strange mix of emotions: anger, relief, anticipation. For the first time since discovering the truth, I felt in control. Emily thought she had the upper hand, but she had no idea what was coming. Over the next few days, I kept up the act. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings, sent her texts asking about her day, even planned a dinner date. I needed her to be completely blindsided. Meanwhile, my lawyer worked fast, drafting the divorce papers, ensuring my financial security. Then, just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I found out something that made my blood run cold. Emily wasn't just cheating on me. She and Mark were making plans that involved taking what was mine. I sat in my car, staring at the email I had just forwarded to myself from Emily's laptop. She had left it open while taking a shower, and curiosity, or maybe instinct, pushed me to look. What I found made my stomach turn. An email thread between her and Mark. "Once he finds out, he'll be too emotional to think straight. We'll make our move then," Mark had written. "He's never been great with money. If I play my cards right, I can walk away with the house and at least half of his savings," Emily replied. I gritted my teeth, reading the words over and over. It wasn't just an affair. It was a setup. She was waiting for the right moment to blindside me, to make me the fool in more ways than one. I exhaled slowly, forcing myself to stay calm. If I confronted her now, she'd just spin the story, play the victim, maybe even manipulate me into making a mistake. No. I had to stick to my plan. But now, I had an even better reason to move quickly. That night, I slept next to Emily like nothing had changed. She curled up beside me, unaware that I knew everything. Unaware that I had already secured my bank accounts, moved valuable assets, and made sure the house would remain mine. She thought she was playing me. But the game was already over. She just didn't know it yet. The divorce papers were ready. My lawyer had moved fast, ensuring every legal loophole was closed. Emily wouldn't get the house. She wouldn't touch my savings. And most importantly, she wouldn't have time to manipulate the situation. I planned my move carefully. I waited until she had another girls' night, knowing exactly where she was going. While she was with Mark, I had the locks changed. Her belongings? I packed them neatly into boxes and left them in the garage. I wanted this to be as cold and final as possible. Then I sent her a text. "I know everything. Don't come back." I blocked her number immediately after. No arguments, no fake tears, no manipulations. She'd see the divorce papers soon enough. The reaction was immediate. My phone blew up with calls from unknown numbers. Emily, no doubt, trying to get through. Then Mark tried. I ignored them all. Let them panic. Let them realize that their plan had backfired. An hour later there was furious banging on the front door. Emily's voice was shrill. "Jake! Open this door right now!" I didn't. Instead, I watched from the window as she screamed, pounded her fists, then finally slumped in defeat. She had lost. But I wasn't done yet. I still had one more move to make. The next morning, I made my final move. I sent the evidence, screenshots of their messages, the video of them together, and the email about their plan, to Mark's fiancée, Rachel. She had no idea what was coming. It didn't take long for the explosion to happen. Within an hour, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You bastard! Mark." I smirked and deleted it. He was about to lose everything, just like Emily. By that afternoon, Emily's family started calling, leaving desperate voicemails. "This isn't how you handle a marriage, Jake," her mother pleaded. "Talk to her." But I was done talking. By the end of the week, the divorce papers were served. Emily tried to fight, but my lawyer shut her down at every turn. She had no claim to the house, no access to my savings. She left with nothing but her clothes and whatever dignity she could scrape together. Mark? Rachel dumped him immediately, and from what I heard, his life spiraled fast. As for me? I moved on. It wasn't easy. The betrayal cut deep, but knowing I had taken control of the situation made it easier to heal. One night, months later, I got a text from Emily, one last attempt at reconciliation. "I made a mistake. Can we talk? I didn't even bother responding. Some people don't deserve a second chance.